morning. The obvious message of today's gospel, which begins the Panayiotis period, that will follow all the way to Pascha. Can you believe it? It's almost here. This obvious message is, at the end, whoever humbles himself will be exalted. When Christ says before this, whoever exalts himself will be humbled. We talk rightfully so about cultivating humility as Orthodox Christians. This is why it's situated at the beginning of this period, because without humility, there is no fertile ground for the virtues. There's no fertile ground for holiness. And I want to turn first our attention to how can it happen that we catch the sickness of pride. Notice how the Pharisee, what he's boasting about. What does he boast about? He boasts about doing all the right things. Does this mean that in order to be humble, we should not do the right things?
Obviously, the answer is no. Talk about being humble. The some guy says I have to put this down in order to not blow my eardrums out. The difference, of course we should do the right things, but we need to do them in the right way for the right reason. What was the Pharisee doing? He was boasting that he fasted twice a week. He was boasting that he tithed. He was taking the credit for himself. He was implicitly, almost explicitly, but right on the edge, implicitly saying, it was me, through my power, that kept the law, that did the right things, and therefore I am justified. Therefore, through my own efforts, I am justified. And the contrast then is the difference between the Pharisee having anesthetized his heart and the publican having incredible pain of heart. He was pouring out his heart and saying the same prayer over and over again because he knew he didn't do the right things. God, have mercy on me, a sinner. God, be gracious to me, a sinner. It's the difference between pouring out your heart and going through the motions. And how we can catch this disease. We need to look, there are many examples in our modern life, but we anesthetize our hearts to especially the sensation of pain at what seems like every turn. Whatever apps we use are designed to hijack our mental patterns so that we are distracted and away from pain. And perhaps the best example is when a person passes away. Not in the Orthodox Church, we still call it a funeral, but everybody else calls it a celebration of life. Funeral homes even do the makeup and shine pink lights on people who have passed away so that they still look like they're alive. So that we don't have to encounter the pain of death, the pain of losing a loved one. We anesthetize our hearts. But in order for there to be humility, there must be pain of heart. And the pain of body, the fasting, the prostrations, the standing in church services, that's all that is supposed to be reminding us of the pain of heart. It's supposed to be, it's like, oh, I've been standing for a while, maybe I should let my heart feel some of this pain as well. I am hungry to remind myself of the fact that my heart must rely on God for sustenance. There are a number of writings, short writings I want to share this morning about the pain of heart. A modern writer, not glorified as a saint to be clear, but very popular, wrote a great many things about his journey of faith, Father Seraphim Rose, says that pain of heart is what separates crazy converts and careless Orthodox from true strugglers. And rewinding several centuries, we have some gems from our desert fathers. St. Mark the Ascetic says that remembrance of God, which we are called to cultivate all the time, are we not? Remembrance of God is pain of heart, enduring in the spirit of piety. But he who forgets God becomes self-indulgent and insensitive. And St. Barsanuphius the Great writes, without pain of heart, no one receives the gift of discerning thoughts, the motives of actions and the like. In fact, every gift is received through the pain of heart. So as we said, if fasting is just a diet, if it's just things that we subtract from our diet and change our diet, there's no pain of body, and therefore there's no pain of heart. If our services, our long lengthened services, are easily endured, there's no pain of body, and therefore there's no reminder for the pain of heart. If almsgiving doesn't challenge our finances, if there's no sacrificial giving, there's no pain of the wallet, and it doesn't remind us of the pain of heart. And to be clear, the pain of heart and cultivating the pain of heart as an Orthodox Christian is not about masochism. It's not afflicting oneself in a masochistic way. It is what happens when we open ourselves up to being pierced to the heart by the love of God. And through co-suffering is how we can be pierced. Through something that requires humility and engenders humility. I'll share one more thing by St. Theophan Rector's. Attention to what goes on in the heart and to what comes forth from it is the chief work of a well-ordered Christian life. Through this attention, the inward and the outward are brought into due relation with one another. But to this watchfulness, discernment must be added so that we may understand aright what passes within us and what is required by outward circumstance. Attention is useless without discernment. You must descend from your head into your heart. At present, your thoughts of God are in your head. He's writing to somebody who has a problem with thoughts of God staying in their head. And God himself is, as it were, outside you, and so your prayer and other spiritual exercises remain exterior. While you are still in your head, thoughts will not easily be subdued, but always will be whirling about like snow in winter. There's a lot of that yesterday. Or clouds of mosquitoes in the summer. At this stage, meaning the stage where we are struggling to unify our mind and our heart, solitude and reading are two swift helpers. So then we can see that to cultivate this pain of heart, which is, let's say, it comes at the same time or in the same way as the union of the heart to the head. We make time for solitude. We clear the noise away and allow our hearts to become sensitive again. With all the noise that we indulge in modern life, there's no way for our heart to be sensitive. We become insensitive because through all this cloud of thoughts, of things flooding into, of images and other things flooding into our eyes and ears and our head, we forget God, as St. Mark the Ascetic says. We become self-indulgent and insensitive and unable to bear the pain of heart. We must give thanks for all things. We must have an attitude of thanksgiving, a Eucharistic way of life, so that we don't try to take credit for everything like the Pharisee. We divest ourselves of all credit and give it all to God. Reading after solitude or during solitude is like planting plants of beauty and goodness and truth into the newly cleared field of the mind. So that with the pain of heart making our heart sensitive, something beautiful can grow. And then, of course, prayer waters these plants of the heart. It maintains the sensitivity of the heart, but not if it remains exterior, as St. Theophan says. Not if we just say words with a totally insensitive heart. So this day of of the publican and the Pharisee, brothers and sisters, when we are going to embark on many spiritual exercises as a church family. We have, as we said, a great length in front of us. We are reminded this week that these disciplines are not to be exterior to us. These disciplines are meant to cultivate that pain of heart that's necessary for our progress into holiness and love as Christians. And for this reason, all fasting is done away with this week, so that we are not made insensitive by thinking that we, through our power, keep the rules, but rather, through God's power, are pierced to the heart and love Him.